So I just went to the gym, got a shower, and it's a very overcast day. It's been a lot cooler the last few days, which is a plus for me because of heat and my health. But I need to make sure to do it early because the district person that does the hiring is actually in today. What an odd day for them to be doing the hiring on this particular day. But anyway, so I wanted to be ready in case I get called because they apparently need day shift and night shift people. And then my other second job that I've worked for like 5 years at all different stores, they really need help at one of the other stores that's a little ways away, and I hate taking the car that far. That's the biggest problem, but I just, needed revenue, and that job's daily pay. So, I could like save my butt from the poo-poo eating dog. But it's really bad for the car. I can't DoorDash because my mileage is like 9 miles a gallon. So that's a big no, and the car's in bad shape. I'm not willing to take that risk to where the car just ends up being parked. Because my backup battery, my Jackery, needs to be charged, and it's bad enough that I don't drive anywhere much because that's what charges the backup battery, the car with it running. So and it's down real low right now, which is horrible. Because that's what operates fans and charges my phone and that kind of thing. So, but the biggest concerns are my car insurance has been due. I've got somebody that was considering helping me with that, and I'm still waiting on that. It was one of my kids. So that's the number one concern right now, because if I lose my driver's license, then they'll impound the car, and my car's paid for. I'm not used to having just one car. I've always had more than one, because I do love cars, and two, in case it breaks down, then I can put it to the side and fix it later and drive the one that runs. But I gave a couple cars away to people that needed them, and I've given a lot of cars away in my lifetime helping people. But there was no sense in paying a bunch of insurance on a bunch of vehicles, since this pandemic. And then I sold one off. I sold my new Cadillac off. Yeah, so right now I need a car insurance real bad. And that's just around $100. But it's a lot of $100 when you don't have it. And then next I've got 2 storages that are getting ready to go up for auction in like 10 days. And if I don't hurry up and pay those 2, which is like $350 for the 2 of them together, they're going to tack another $100 on each unit for an auction fee, which I wouldn't get back even if I paid it the day of auction, I don't think. Yeah, it's not good. I'm not getting any sales on eBay, and I'm not the only one. There's lots of big time sellers. A lot of them have migrated to Whatnot. I've done show after show after show the last like month on Whatnot, and it's like very much the dollar place. The thing is, what I sell is very high end, and it's really bad when you're selling a Polo Ralph Lauren for a $1 opening bid and somebody wins. The last sale I did the other day before I closed my office, because they were going to overlock it, Um, I had a Ralph Lauren dress shirt go for $1, and on Whatnot you only get paid 60 cents for that sale when it sells for $1. So I have marked down. About a month ago, I started marking down sections of my eBay store 30%. It takes time to go through each one because there's some pieces that are collector's pieces that are very expensive. Um, and, you don't want to mark those down like that. Um, and, so, it takes time. And I had like the whole store at like 30%. And then about a week ago, I started removing those 30% sales and going back in and doing the 50% off sales. And like I say, it's a tedious task. You just don't just put the whole store on 50% off because there's, like 5 to 10% of the store that's really expensive collector's items, and they're vintage. And so I have to go through by hand in each ad and select the ones that I want to go on that sale, and then try to separate them out so that the eBay search engine can find stuff easier, like, Ralph Lauren, and I put all Ralph Lauren sale 50% off. And, I go through and pick all the Ralph Lauren that's not vintage and put that in that sale. So it has that title, Ralph Lauren. And then, I go through the Abercrombie and Fitch and then all that, and do a separate one on that. And then I'll do one like on shoes and one like on boots. And they're all separate so they can be found on the search engine easier. But, eBay's just gone through a terrible summer slowdown this year. But it happens every year, but I don't know, I think it's worse. And I'm sure that's due to election stuff and all that, and the economy is really bad since Biden. It's just horrible. So, I did what I had to do. I'd rather mark it down to 50% off to where I get what I paid for some of that stuff, and then enough to pay taxes, because I have to pay taxes on the revenue. Although eBay charges taxes to the customer, that doesn't go to me. That's some stuff eBay does. But I still have to pay taxes on the revenue of what it sells for. And so, and then eBay fees, they tax you on the shipping and the total sale and the item price and all that other stuff. So eBay basically today, in today's age, eBay makes almost half of, the sale. And their fees and stuff. It's called paying house. And so, when a seller goes on YouTube and goes, I'm a big time seller, and I sell $5 million a year, well, they're only taking home about $3 million, or less than that. And then those big sellers, they have gigantic stores. And see, this is something I've disagreed with for a long time. I've watched all these big time sellers, and they're like, you've got to list every day. And the more you list, the more you'll sell. I don't see any guarantee in that. I do not. You have to have a really, really hot item. It is not 2001 in eBay where you could just list anything. I used to joke and say you could sell a used paperclip. People were doing that. Used hairpin, used car keys to a car that got totaled and end up in the junkyard, and they would list the car keys so they could try to buy a new car, and had a big long story with the ad and all that. These were the keys to my car, blah, blah, blah. That was way back. That doesn't even exist today. You really have to have what the buyer is looking for. The biggest problem is there are so many sellers today. That's why eBay's platform just malfunctioned all the time, because the server can't handle it. Between the customers that are looking and the people that are listing, and all the different stores, and there's people that list 250 items a day. There's people that list 100 items a day, separate pieces. I'm not talking about quantity listings. I'm talking about separate items. You have to photograph, you have to do your descriptions and all this other stuff. It's not easy to make ads on eBay. There's a lot there you have to put in so that you can sell the item, because you got to remember, it's like selling to a blind person. You have to be able to describe it, um, in its entirety and in total condition, especially sell used stuff, because they'll want to return. If it's not right, or it's missing something, or a picture or whatever, they're going to want to return, and eBay guarantees returns now. Pretty much, yeah. The next thing is they've got the new refund thing where the customer does not have to wait. If that item has not been shipped, they can push a button and get refund instantly, which is a good thing too, because I hate buying on eBay. And it seems like, 99% of the people I've ever bought from on eBay in my whole life take forever to ship it. And I paid them, and I could have ordered from somebody else that would ship that day or the next day. And these jokers will take a week or 2 weeks, and then when they put the track number in, it never leaves. You're looking at the thing every day, it never leaves, and it's just, it takes forever to get that item. And you could have ordered it from someone else, and if you'd had a way to refund, because on a buy it now, there's no refund after 60 minutes. That's always been the policy until just recently. And so now they can refund any time, which also makes it scary for me right now in my position. It's just been really, really tough. And, the whole idea is to get ahead. And especially with my car and the way it is, being homeless in the car, I'm trying to get ahead. People love to put you down when you're living in the car. You can't tell people. You can't tell your work. I was very honest at one job I got. I'm like, man, I'm homeless in the car. They had housing. If you were employed there, they offered housing. But God, you had to pay like $800 a month to live in their so-called housing in Destin with a bunch of other people that you don't know. And that was apparently problematic from all the weird stories I would hear from people that, lived in that housing. But again, it was cheaper than, renting a hotel room, during season in this area. And so I wanted to opt into that, and I was promised full time as soon as one employee was leaving to be relocated, which that took like a couple months before that even happened. And I was just getting like little part-time hours, and I'm just not getting ahead, plus still running eBay, so eBay, was like the side gig. And hopefully I could get it developed enough to where, I could live off it. I did years ago. I made huge money on eBay years ago. Yeah, if you want to talk about the eBay, what do you call it? Bandit, villain, whatever you call it. I was it. I was it years ago. It was amazing. And I was still working. I still was running my businesses and stuff. It was a side gig, and I was banking between eBay and Amazon. So it takes hours and hours and days and days to list stuff. So if you keep listing tons of stuff, like these other YouTubers, they're selling so many millions a year. The problem with it is that you have to get more storage. And I'm like, I don't see how, listing all this stuff every single day and going out to buy more so you can list it is feasible, because you have to have more storage. And that costs money. And that's like putting your wallet in storage and paying on it. And that's just not feasible. When I did the storage auctions, I kind of wished I'd have known about the value of used books and the value of used clothes, because I donated, and I spent huge money washing all those clothes and stuff. I donated to homeless people in person that I knew were homeless that never asked, and they're the ones that don't have that little cardboard sign with the scam thing going on. I can't tell you how many, pillows and blankets and sleeping bags and jackets, and people that wanted to go to work and didn't have clothes, and I washed and gave those things away, and not counting all the food that I would bring to people every day, 3 times a day, you know. Um, and uh, that's just like in the last like 5 years. I've spent so much helping other people, and some are just not worth it. But at least you made an effort to do something kind for a stranger, and the ones that you knew that weren't the fake homeless, they're just out there hustling for drugs, liquor, and lottery tickets. Um, and then the rest I would donate and get the tax write-off paper. But I wished I'd have known, because there was so much stuff I donated, clothing and all that out of the auction storages, because I didn't want to house it. You know what I mean? People think that when you buy auction storages, you're housing all that crap you bought. No, hell no. The whole idea is get rid of it as fast as you can. Furniture in the first 3 or 4 days, get it gone. That goes real fast, and you get good money for used furniture. Um, and you get rid of that immediately, and then you sort through any valuables, and if you want to keep any of that, then you might keep a couple things. But I mean, I think the most I've ever kept from any auction storages is about 1 box of stuff, of valuable stuff, or a few things that I wanted to keep. The rest was sold or donated, because you can't make money on it and make your money back if you don't get rid of it. So it's been tough. Now, when I was working one of my other jobs, for about a year, I was making really good money working in Destin, like 21 an hour, but it was on tourist season. And I was getting full-time and overtime, and I worked myself to death. I would work myself to death and go right out in the parking lot and crash in the car. And to total exhaustion, because, the money was there. I was going to take it, you know what I mean? And so, I had big plans then. That was just a year ago. And that just crashed and burned. But, during that time I was working there, I spent a small portion of my payroll every week on researching items and going to secondhand stores and, looking at used clothing and stuff like that, and stuff that was, high end. And, I would buy like 5 to 10 pieces, $5, and, then, I would clean them or fix them, whatever, and then, list them for sale. And so, because I was very intrigued with the used clothing market, the only problem is that, I didn't realize that the sell-through rate is so slow. You're talking like 3 months to a year. And, I don't want to house stuff that long. I do not want to be paying storage to accommodate something that takes that long to sell. Really, I don't. I don't see how that's feasible. Now, all that stuff's tax writable, your cost, your fuel, and hotels and storages and all that kind of stuff. But to me, that's not worth it. I'm not seeing that. And eBay's, not supporting me currently, and hasn't yet, except for way back in the early 2000s. And so, I've been listing every single day, spending 12, 15 hours a day. So, until it's fully supportive and I have a little money set aside, then, we can talk further. But it's just a side gig. I'm selling a lot of my own stuff because, I can replace some of that stuff. There's some stuff I can never replace, and that's why the storages cannot go up for auction. I have some of my dad's stuff in there that cannot be lost. So first things first is car insurance, and that's just around $100, because they're going to charge me a $10 late fee on top of my insurance payment, and then I have those 2 storages that have got to be paid right away. Um, just no sales again today on eBay so far. It's just like dry as a bone. But again, who wants to order when you have, you know, the store on vacation mode because I can't access my stock to ship it? So a lot of customers aren't going to buy it if they got to wait. Or the ones that don't pay attention to read the ad bypass it, and then after about a week you start getting a bunch of messages like, where's my stuff? And it's like, well, it was in the ad when you purchased, you know, the store's in vacation mode. So you know, and I won't take it off of vacation mode if I get access to my main unit. It's all my resale, until after I ship everything out. Once I go in there and I ship all this stuff out, then I'll pull the store off vacation mode so that it's free and clear. Because if you pull out vacation mode, you got to ship just ASAP, and it's a lot of work. And if I get a lot of orders, you know, I want to be in time because I have 100% ratings on eBay, so I want to keep it that way. In the meantime, you know, we'll see what happens. I applied for a bunch of other jobs, went and saw some people. I have like no gas hardly in the car. You know, like an eighth of a tank. So I can't go far, like even down the street. There's a job that they had contacted me about 2 months ago, and I tried to get on over there for like 2 years. And they really wanted to see me, and I thought, well, if I just wandered in there in person and went, hi, then maybe I could have gone to work immediately. I could have gone to work immediately yesterday at my second job that I've had for years, but we wanted to see if my clock-in numbers would work, because after so much time, you know, usually after like 30 days, it voids out, is the story. And so I was told that before, and I had to reapply the last time over that. And so one of the other stores let me attempt to clock in, and my numbers would not accept. So that means I had to literally reapply again. The last time I played that game, it took like 3 months to get back in, because there's somebody at another store that was overseeing that store, and I don't even know who they are. I don't think I've ever seen them in my life. And they were jacking with my stuff intentionally to keep me from working there. That was pretty bad. But anyway, so we'll see what happens, because this other store is really in bad shape. They need help bad, and I've worked there before several times, and they love me there. So, and it also has a new manager. It's funny how that particular company, the managers that treated me badly, and others too, are no longer working there. In the last, I guess, 6 months or a year, a lot of these people were terminated because they were stealing money. Yeah, I've heard from several people in all these different stories. They were stealing money. Not a good thing. That's really bad. You know, so anyway, I'm just waiting to see what happens. I'm going to continue to look, you know, on Indeed and see what I can find today. A terrible day because Sunday. But we'll see what happens. You know, of course, like I don't have any food in the car. I only have a couple dollars left. I had a friend of mine for probably 12 years that had sent me like $50 over a week ago, so I could put some gas in the car and get something to eat. And that money's almost gone on, like, you know, $1 burrito a day over at Taco Bell. You know what I mean? So I'm basically wiped out. But anyway, it's a tough call. It's scary. I cannot lose my stuff. I just can't. I just, had a bunch of storages stolen out in Bama, and the only thing I had was what I already moved out of them. I've got enough stock here to open, a retail store or two, of my new stock that I haven't even really listed on eBay. But it doesn't sell well unless it's in person. It's for entertainers. Um, so, I do have the shoes listed, a lot of the shoes listed, and on eBay, but I've got them marked down to half, where it's below my cost. Below my cost, and not counting the decorations. So, and the time involved to make those. Because that was a big thing, during the pandemic, was decorated platform shoes. But I still have a bunch of them brand new that aren't decorated, which I'd love to decorate, but they just don't sell. So, I'd rather just run those out plain, I think, and get my money. But, like I say, I've been spending every single day, 12, 15 hours listing. And, and with my fall and everything, I told you guys about that last night. That has not helped me at all. It is terrible. But I still have got to find a way to be able to work. The only problem is, like, this one job, if I catch this interview for today and get hired, they would pay every other week. And that won't save me from the auction storages. So, or my car insurance. But my other secondary job, if I could get them to turn the light on in that sucker right away, which I could have gone to work yesterday because they needed me over there. They're like, man, we'd take you right now. Do you know if your number's still working? I said, I don't know. I'll ask them if they let me try to clock in and see if they work. And it didn't work. And I was like, no. So, I got a lot of hours out of that other store. The last, I was sat there for a month, and I was doing really good. But they love me there too, because I'm a serious worker, just doing stock, But anyway, so that's where it's at. And some of these jobs I've applied for are just terrible, terrible pay. But, again, you got to take what you can get. When you're at zero, it's money. You can always try to do something different later. So, yeah. So anyway, if anybody wants to help, my PayPal is in my description on my channel. And then, if you want to make a purchase in my eBay store, I'll put that in the description box. That way, if you don't want to donate, then, at least you get something for your money if you buy something from my eBay store. But I can't ship right now because it's on vacation mode, but you can still purchase. And that will help me very, very much. So, it takes eBay 3 days to process the payment for me to get it. So, anyway, if you can help, please do. I just wanted to give you an update of where I'm at this point on this new blessed day. We hope it's a blessed and profitable day. And we'll see you in the next one. I'll let you know what's going on. I was glad. I will say this: I was glad to learn from a guy that claimed he was homeless on the streets, and he was selling books. And I asked him, well, how do you research the pricing and all that? And he told me. And so, I got that app and stuff, and I wished I'd have known about that, because all the books I donated from auction storages. The only books I ever really kept was, like, a couple stamp collections that I got in auction storages. But all the other stuff, all the books, I just, donated them and to all the different places in the area, took the tax write-off. But, I wished I'd have known more where I could research the stuff before I donated it, because some books are worth a lot of money. And they tend to sell, pretty well. Now, again, I don't want a whole storage unit full of damn books that I'm trying to sell. I don't want a whole library of crap that sits around at all. I don't. But, sometimes when clothes aren't selling, books will. So you have to be a little versatile on eBay. So I started listing some books, that are worth something, and that were given to me, and some that I got out of an auction storage, and a few I picked up like $5 for a whole basket full of books, and I cleaned them up and photographed them and listed them and all that, that they were worth a little bit of money. So I have probably 40 books for sale that are pretty nice, and so I was glad to learn about that, but we'll see what happens. But I appreciate your time. I hope you have a really great and blessed and profitable day. Do something kind for a stranger. Love everybody. Too much of a good thing is wonderful, and we're really hoping for that. Oh my. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Catch you on the next one.